Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, you can start.
Good evening, everyone. Today will be our last and final part of the ophthalmology session. So today we'll be covering all miscellaneous topics along with two important topics, diabetic retinopathy and retinoblastoma. Okay, so let's start with diabetic retinopathy. This is the most common cause of blindness in adults aged between 35 to 65 years of age. And about 80% of the patients with type 1 diabetes will develop retinopathy after 10 years of presentation. Whereas in type 2 diabetes, where the time of onset is not very sure, about 25% of the patients will have retinopathy at the time of diagnosis. Okay. The most likely cause of blurred vision in a newly diagnosed diabetic who was previously fit, you will have to think of osmotic changes in the lens, that is the lens edema. Never always think of diabetic retinopathy because it happens with progression of the disease. In a newly diagnosed patient with sudden blurring of vision, think of lens edema. Rapid improvement of blood glucose level may be associated with the worsening of the diabetic eye disease, mainly because of osmotic changes. Okay, so what is the pathogenesis of diabetic retinopathy? When there is hyperglycemia, the retinal blood flow and there is abnormal metabolism in the retinal blood vessel wall. This leads to damage of the endothelial cells and the pericytes. Because of this damage, it leads to endothelial dysfunction, leading to vascular permeability and exudates, which we see on fundoscopy. And pericyte dysfunction predisposes to the formation of microaneurysms. And there is eventually retinal ischemia and leading to production of growth factors and neovascularization. Okay. So how do we classify diabetic retinopathy? There's a traditional classification and also there is a new classification. The traditional classification is mainly background retinopathy, pre-proliferative retinopathy. And the newer ones will have mild non-proliferative, moderate non-proliferative, and severe non-proliferative. And the next would be proliferative diabetic retinopathy. Okay, so in background retinopathy, what you see is microaneurysm, lot hemorrhages, and hard exudates. And the hemorrhages will be less than 3 in number. In pre-proliferative retinopathy, you will see cotton wool spots, more than 3 blot hemorrhages, venous beading or looping, deep or dark cluster hemorrhages, and it is more common in type 1 diabetes, usually treated with laser photocoagulation. Okay, so remember the fundoscopic features, whatever you see in pre-proliferative and proliferative. In mild, again, it is classified into one or more microaneurysms. In moderate, there will be microaneurysms, blood hemorrhages, hard exudates, cotton wool spots, venous beading and looping, and intraretinal microvascular abnormalities. And it is a milder variant of the severe non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy. In severe, what extra you see is more venous bleeding in at least two quadrants in the fundus and intraretinal microvascular abnormalities at least in one quadrant. So the next would be proliferative. Whatever we saw now is non-proliferative type. The proliferative diabetic retinopathy constitutes retinal neovascularization, mainly because of production of growth factors and retinal ischemia. This can lead to vitreous hemorrhage, fibrous tissue forming anterior to the retinal disc can be seen. Proliferative is also more common in type 1 diabetes, and 50% of the patients, it can lead to blindness in 5 years. Normal visual acuity is seen in proliferative retinopathy, and urgent referral to an ophthalmologist is required within 1 week of diagnosis. If you see changes of proliferative retinopathy on a fundus examination, refer them immediately because it can lead to retinal detachment or vitreous hemorrhage or even permanent blindness. Okay. Diabetes maculopathy is another change that you see in diabetics. This is mainly because of the location of where the changes are. So if it is located in the macula, you call it maculopathy. And it is also a very severe complication. Hard exudates can be seen in the background, changes on the macula. The exudates can be arranged in a ring pattern, circinate exudate surrounding a point of capillary leakage. More common in type 2 diabetics. and responds to laser treatment. Okay, this is a little less severe compared to the diabetic retinopathy.